Hello everybody, it's Sarah Oblak Spiker here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in New York. And something's weighing me down. As we all know, a lot has been going on in our world, in the States. And I am so grateful for the silence to not go on anymore, but for the voices to be heard. Now, here's the thing. For the past couple of days, weeks perhaps, I have found myself in a space and was like, well, I'm up leveling in my own personal journey and business development, and a lot of integration is happening, and I needed to take space for myself. And the COVID quarantine finally caught up with me, and homeschooling, taking care of the business, taking care of the house, everything else. I found myself in a space where I just needed to take a step back, quiet down a little bit, and take care of myself. And I gave myself this space. And then I also took a stand when I voiced that when it came to COVID, I would not be subscribing to the terminology of and narrative of how unprecedented those times were, how difficult it was, how fearful those times were, and how challenging they were, because I simply believed that each and every one of us has a choice to see things from a different perspective, to step into the expansion and growth, and to choose to create the future of our own design by choice. And now, when it comes to racism, again, it becomes choice. And here is the space where I no longer can or should or even could simply choose what narrative to play into or what not, what conversations to participate in anymore or what not, because this is a whole new issue. And as a white woman myself, I am aware there is so much I have yet to learn and unlearn, to do, undo, to see differently, and just to listen. Even though I have not been born and raised in the States, and I grew up with a different environment, with different norms, different values, different threads, so to speak, being woven into the fabrics of my own upbringing and my own culture. Witnessing what has been going on, I am guilty, just as so many millions of others who have kind of played into the narrative of, well, it's not necessarily my story. I'm doing all that I can. I'm not really contributing to racism. All the things that, with the privilege, like I said, my heart is on fire right now of the guilt and shame of not doing more through all of those years. And this morning I actually went back and recounted. I was like, I need to hold myself accountable. Before I can speak, I want to make sure that I can actually walk the talk. And I posted this morning that I have been excited to see and proud to say and honored to experience that the group of people who have been surrounding me over the past couple of years have been very diverse. Both my mentors as well as my clients, the vendors, the service providers, as well as my friends. But staying silent is not a choice anymore, that it could be taken lightly. And I still am coming to terms with how can I what are some of the things that I can do and do better and amplify them. And one thing that is coming down to goes back to even in the COVID experience, knowing that one of the ways that I can fight for equality, for inclusion, for healing, is to continuously showing up and continuously being the beacon of light, continuously elevating conversations and serving the way that I'm called to be served, and then using resources to help, to support, to give the platform, to give the voice, to amplify their voices to those who are fighting on the front lines, who are called to show up this way. And like I said, there is so much that wants to come through, so much agony, so much pain, so much sadness that I can't even find the words for it. I am not, my intention is not to, take away anybody's spotlight. My intention is not to play into the, how do I even say it? The innocent victim of I did not know. Because we all knew. It is nothing new. It has been going on for many, many centuries. We simply chose not to acknowledge it. And we simply chose to give it a little bit of attention when it happens. And it happens over and over and over again. And we're just waiting for it to boil over so it, our worlds can go back to normal. There's no normal anymore. We are called to create the new normal. And it is on all of us. And I need to find a way for myself first to learn, to listen. How can I best contribute with the gifts that I have been given? And not hide anymore. Because now staying silent, my daughter is right here. I know she can hear me. So I want to make sure that I say this in a way that she understands and she can carry on this legacy.
Oh, I understand.
But growing up in Europe, my grandma would tell me stories from the Second World War, and horrors of Nazism, fascism, and through history we would be learning about it. And I remember thinking and wondering, how in the world could people let this happen? Were they blind? How they could not see? Why no one said anything? Why no one stood up? Why no one stopped them? When millions were being taken away, millions are being murdered, when nations were torn apart, because it started exactly how it started a couple of years ago here. Them versus us. It's not me, it's them. It's not my fight to fight. I'll be just quiet and I'll let somebody else take care of it. Discrediting those who are experts, discrediting the media, pointing fingers, blaming, promoting division. Step by step, if you take out the playbook, history is repeating itself. And as somebody who was born decades after all the gruesomeness of the Second World War, and I can still feel it in my bones, I can feel it on a cellular level through epigenetics, the consequences that have been carried through generations, especially of women who have been abused, who have been beaten, who have been slaughtered, families torn apart. It is part of my epigenetics. It can't even compare to experiencing racism, systemic racism over centuries. But a part of me, I can feel it. And it angers me, it saddens me, it pisses me off. Because we are still going in the same damn cycles. And nothing is being done. And people are being murdered in plain sight. Families are being torn apart in front of the millions, and we are just standing by and we're being silent. And the history is about to repeat itself again. And I am angry. So yes, my heart goes out. And it ignites my purpose on a whole new level. It puts my mission on a whole new level. And the gifts that I have been given, the purpose that I have been placed in this world right now, I have to be much more focused on how I get to use it, how I get to share it, and how I get to participate in the movement that changes our current reality and starts creating new one. So what I can do right now is to pledge to continuously show up, and perhaps not being the person in front lines marching down the street carrying the signs. But what I can do is using my gifts, my knowledge, my expertise to continuously empower men and women, white, black, it doesn't, I mean, of all the colors, of all the ethnicities, from all sorts of backgrounds, just like I have been doing over the years, to continuously doing that, and then using resources to support those organizations, to support those individuals who have the knowledge, who have the expertise, who have the means, who have the whatever is needed to make the change, step by step, leap by leap. That is my vow. And my vow is to never ever be silent anymore. Because I saw a quote somewhere and it said, first they came for them, but we stayed silent because it wasn't us. They came for them, we stayed silent because it wasn't us. Then they came for other group, and again we stayed silent because it wasn't us. And then they finally came to us and there was no one else left. Not only we cannot let this happen, we refuse to let this happen because we are called to change this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And all the pain, all the violence, all the anger, it's coming through, and it's almost like birthing pains. And it has to happen. We have to let it happen. We cannot silence it because it's simply a symptom of something that had been going on systematically for centuries. And those wounds have yet to heal. And it is my hope every single day that we can finally come together and we can finally, many of us, just be silent and start listening and put our egos aside and start doing the work. Inner work, our own biases, our own perceptions, our own stories. And one of the simple questions that we can ask is, how can I help? And then take the damn action. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this time and space right now with me, for being in energy together, for enabling me to express all of this. We have work to do. We have a lot of work to do. And with that said, to each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sending you love and light. And I'm standing right here with you. We are changing the world, step by step, person by person, leap by leap. And it starts with us, and it starts right here with every single day.